Okay guys, how are you doing today? Today happens to be the last day of May, and that's 31st. And what we're going to be doing here is just a review of the week that was, right? That will help us to trade the foreign exchange market better, right? And that's exactly what we need. We need to know how to trade. So I'm going to show you a few trades that I took and maybe one or two that I missed out on as well, and then we'll learn from it together, right? So the purpose of what we're trying to do is so that when we see this happening again this coming week, this brand new week, which happens to be the week NFP, which is the first month of every, or the first NFP, sorry for my English, the first NFP of every new month, right? And we'll be having that come this Friday, right? So what we're doing here today, I'm going to show you this Euro USD chart. We'll just talk about three instruments here: Euro USD, GBP USD, and of course USD CHF. USD CHF moves in opposite direction to Euro USD, and you can see the trend here is an uptrend. That means that ideally we should be looking for to buy, or we should be looking for positions to buy. Now you can see based on support and resistance, because what I use majorly is support and resistance price action, right, to identify the trend, to identify how the market is moving, and then also where I would like to enter the market, which is known as the area of interest. From here the market went down, so this is known as the resistance. From here the market went up, so it's known as support, and then the market broke out. So normally as the market has broken to the upside, we're expecting the market to come down here, where we will now place our entry to buy over here, because once it breaks out of resistance, like over here, once it breaks out of resistance, the other side now becomes support. And then the market did what you can see from here, it said to go down, so we can mark this here as the resistance. And then the market came down, not up to the point we wanted, and then it pushed back higher. And if you look at these two candles here, it was based on news, and then the market broke out of here. So now I'm going to show you something quickly, because I'm going to show you the trade I missed based on this Euro USD. As you can see, the market is pushing higher and higher, especially from that last week that we're looking at the market. If you had placed a trade to buy over here, with the fact that this was former resistance now turned support, maybe not, you would have gotten stopped out, because your entry would have been here, probably your stop loss would have been here, or if you were lucky, maybe your stop loss would have been here. But for me, if I had taken this trade, I would have gotten knocked out on this. I definitely would have gotten knocked out. But I just didn't like the formation, I didn't like the movement, because one thing, apart from the area of interest, you need to also look at how the market moves to that area, right? How the market moves to that area. And then you now need to look at your trigger, what you're going to use to pull the trigger, whether it's the normal price action candles that traders normally use, like the hammers and engulfings, dojis, or it might be a price pattern. It might be a form of wedge or pennant, or whatever the case might be. There are a lot of things that people use to pull the trigger, but the key thing here is the area of interest, right? But then this was one I missed. This same area that was resistance before, I was supposed to act as support, which actually did a bit over here, but then broke a bit and came back. You see that nicely, it came back here and then acted as support over here. As it acted as support over here, you can see that the market pushed high, I believe about 200 pips there about from here, and then it progressed up to this point here. Now I didn't get this entry here. Well, I didn't get it here. It was, I won't say painful, it was well, what can I say, I just didn't get the entry here. But no need to cry over spilled milk. But I'll tell you the entry that I got, as a matter of fact, on this Euro USD. As the market pushed and pushed and pushed up to this much, in the uptrend movement, it got to this area here on the higher time frame. On the daily time frame, we had a supply area for selling, and then this was on a Friday. So as this was on a Friday over here, and then looking at the candles that we have here, you notice that we start having this form of rejection, showing stress in pushing higher on a Friday. And most times Friday is usually profit taking days, and then for profit taking days you're expecting a retracement at least. and this here is what we call an untested level as support, because it's yet to be tested. This here also is also untested, right? So I placed 2 positions here, and then it got to this area here of support. If it wasn't Friday, I would have been looking forward to trying to get out here at least for a bigger reward, but because it was Friday, I took out my profit here, and then you can see the market closed, and then we're waiting for the market to open in a few minutes from now, right? And because today is Sunday, as I said earlier. So I hope you understand what I just did over here, this explanation based on this Euro USD chart here. And then also, as we all know, Euro USD and USD CHF, they tend to move in opposite directions. That means that if Euro USD is going up, we're expecting USD CHF to be going down, and voila, we had it going down. So it's always good, even if you don't get an entry on Euro USD, most likely you might get another one on USD CHF, right? Because at the end of the day, they tend to move in very similar patterns, in opposite patterns, that is. Now if you look over here, we had here a support, and then the market pushed higher, and then it broke out. Once it breaks out from here, this area here should act as resistance. Now look at what happened. Look at these candles. You'll notice that these candles were based on news, the big size candles, and then we had a big breach over here, and as they had a big breach, immediately based on this candle, it rushed back in, and then it kept on, you know, with this wicks showing, probably taking out the weak hand, and then it kept on respecting it. I didn't get an entry in this area. No, I didn't get this. I believe this was 27th. This was on I believe this was on a Tuesday. I didn't get an entry here, but I got 2 positions here because I was patient, and then I noticed this weak hand again. The market broke out, but then quickly rushed back in, giving me heads up that the sellers are very much in control. The sellers are very much stronger than the buyers, and of course this is a point of resistance. So as I pulled the trigger here on my 2 positions, it dropped further down, and then got to this point here of higher time frame, which I use to take my profits, right? So if you don't have anything to the left hand side of that time frame, you can check a higher time frame for maybe its support or resistance, depending on what you want to do. Don't forget, directional bias is always key. That's what we should look out for first of all. So I got my take profit here, and the good thing about this USD CHF is that also, just like that Euro USD where I got that selling on Friday, the same thing here applied. I got to buy here on Friday as well, and then it pushed up to this area here, former support here acted as resistance. I can see this blue line, right? This blue line over here, this one here in this circle here, is representing where my take profit was, right? This one was representing take profit for this sell. I can see that it got there, and then if you look very well, this red is representing the entry, where the stop loss was is this arrow. The same applies over here, and then profit was hit on this USD CHF, right? So this was much better than Euro USD, in as much as I didn't get that entry, right, on that Euro USD, that entry over here, I didn't get it here, no problem. So on the 28th, I did get my USD CHF on the 28th over here. So don't forget that, and that's why I look at this instrument. They are known as the major currency pairs, by the way. So at times, if you don't get an entry on Euro USD, you might as well get on USD CHF. And then also note that you don't need too many positions in a week to hit your target. As a matter of fact, you don't need too many positions in a month to hit your target, and that's what we had over here. So now over to GBP USD, right? The market will be opening soon, and I'm sure a lot of us are getting ready for the new week. It's going to be a brand new, it's already a brand new week. It's going to be a brand new month as well, as tomorrow will be the 1st of June. So I would also want to use that to say happy new month to everybody. Make sure you trade safely, ensure proper risk management, also known as money management, and ensure you use a stop loss. Stop loss is very key, right? So let me quickly explain this trade, which I also took advantage of as well. If you look very well, the market went up. Yes, I missed this one too. So it's on the 27th, right? I missed this one for a few reasons. Now this vertical move here, at times I'm wary of vertical moves, but I really wanted to pull the trigger here and even reduce my risk. But you know, trying to be disciplined, I said not to, since I didn't like the movement to this area. Now we said number 1 is the area of interest, number 1, and then number 2 is the reaction, the movement, the way the market moves to that area and then reacts to that area. You can see it reacted more or less to the peep of this our horizontal line, and then the trigger for you to enter the market. So I didn't place a trade over here. I let that one, just run wild, and then it worked like charm, like it worked back to this area of resistance. But I was able to get my entry. I got one quick entry here. Looking at this rejection as well, you need to pay attention to the candles, because candles, they light up the your dark parts. They're like the footprints in the sand as well, in the desert. So looking at this rejection, I knew, hey, this is a big rejection. The sellers are, they're not allowing the market to push higher, at least not for the week, which was that just ended. So now looking at this, I placed a sell here, and then getting to this area of flip zone. Flip zone is an area that's acted as support and resistance before, right? That's a flip zone. I quickly got out over here, right? But well, you can see my blue indicator was here. I was hoping, well, I don't know what to call it. I was hoping I would have one big move up to this point here. I knew it was a Friday all the same, because if you look very well over here, we have an area here where you have, look at it very well, this is sitting here as support, breached a bit but still support. Now resistance, 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 as you can see, and over here came back here as what? Came back here as support. So I was hoping that this here will just break down very hard and then act as support, and then I cash out. But with the struggle, it broke out, but going back up, I just took it out, took my profit here, a quick one. Well, obviously small pips is better than nothing. So I got out here at this point here, and then I called it a day. Now, in order to summarize what we have just done here, because the more we do this how to trade videos, the better we'll understand what we're looking out for. Even though this is a review, much earlier how to trade videos were showing you the before, during, and after. Now this is the after. Just in case I can't keep up and show you the before, during, I'll show you the after, show you my trades, and explain. So that once you train your how will I put it? Once you train your eyes to look out for what you want to see, once you see that, then you know how to take advantage of it. So trust me, with all what we've talked about here, there are three key things I want us to take note of. Number one, area of interest. For me, it's my support and resistance. Yours could be anything, could be Bollinger Bands, could be moving averages, and so on. So area of interest, number one, and then the way the market moves there, the reaction to that area, which is under number two. And then number three, your trigger, what you're going to use to pull the trigger. Some use candles, candle formation. You have to read candles as well. You have to understand candles and what they mean. So once you see all of these things, you understand them better, and then you know how to pull the trigger. You pull the trigger without hesitation, because your risk management, your volume calculation is very good. Your lot size that you're using based on your account balance is in check, and then your stop loss is also there. And then you pull the trigger without having any hesitations and whatnot, and then see what the outcome could be. Anytime you place a trade, always note that it could either be a winner or a loser. So it's always best for us not to be afraid. Place your trade accordingly and see how it goes. That's all. So I've just said that one. Now let's look out for the next video on how to trade. We'll be doing this as often as possible to explain. Maybe we might pick this same instrument or any instrument that we get an entry on, so that we understand the instrument better. But basically just for us to understand trading better, because once you can trade, whether it's Euro USD or GBP USD or USD CHF, which are currencies, one currency against another, then of course you can trade commodities, you can trade cryptocurrencies, you can trade indices, you can trade shares, whatever the case might be. You can trade everything, because it's information at the end of the day. And then also your fundamental is also key. Always pay attention to what's happening in the news. I'm sure we know that US and China, they're not more or less turning to foes now because of what's happening in Hong Kong, and obviously the trade deal phase one has not even hasn't fully kicked off and all. And the pandemic, the coronavirus from China, as is being claimed, is making a mess between the US and China. So these are some of the things we need to pay attention to. Pandemic is not yet over. Let's still keep safe from this, and let's ensure that we watch the market. If there is a relapse with respect to this lockdown that has been eased up all over the world, I'm sure we're paying attention to what's happening in the US as well with respect to George Floyd, I Can't Breathe, and the protest. It's massive. Looking at it so far, The US dollar most likely is going to suffer this week, probably, most likely. So that means that we should be looking forward to weak dollars this week. But at the same time, pay attention to your levels, area of interest, then your reaction, how the market moves there, and then your trigger, and then you are good to go. We'll do more videos of this, and hopefully help somebody listening to this and watching this video. So I want to say thank you for your time. The next thing you need to do is to subscribe. Yes, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, right? Post a comment, we'll get back to you so that you can learn. This is continuity. You need to ask questions in order to learn and to understand what we are doing here so that you too can also make money from it. Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody. It was a pleasure, and goodbye for now. Thank you.